Matt here with Mobile Solar Consulting. Today, we're going to be comparing these two battery disconnect switches. We want to see which one gets hotter under a load. The EGIS switch is rated for 500 continuous amps and the BEP switch is rated for 400 continuous amps. Today, we're only going to be pushing them at 200 continuous amps, but I can guarantee you they will get plenty hot. Little bit of detail on the setup today. We've got each switch wired with 4-aught cable, same gauge, same length on each side. These cables are identical. So this cable is equal to this one is equal to this one. We've got the same inverter, made by different companies technically, but if it quacks like a duck with a different sticker on the front, it's still a duck. We've got the same battery and the same MRBF fuse powering both circuits. We're using the 314 amp hour SOK batteries because they've got a really high discharge current of 200 amps each continuous. And today we're taking our temperature measurements with a Servo GX, so we'll have that data obviously recorded by hand as we're doing the test, but also it'll be in VRM. So hopefully we can show you a nice little graph when we're finished. We've got our temperature sensors mounted on top of the lug on the switch's terminal. For a load today, we're using 2 heat guns per side. And to measure the current, we're using our Klein clamp-style multimeters. We're starting our test at 21 degrees Celsius. We're in an air-conditioned room. Let's get the show on the road. We've got about 200 amps flowing through each circuit, 203 on this one, 207 on that one. Few amps difference, but we'll be recording that as we go, and we'll take that into account with any test result differences. Already we see things warming up, reaching 24 degrees. We're 5 minutes in. We're gonna be doing this until an hour passes or until something goes wrong. We're halfway through the test. Both switches are neck and neck. We see only a 1 degree difference between the two. Feeling around here, every single point on every single cable is warm. The MRBF fuse on top of the batteries is definitely the hottest point, but not by far. This is kind of just showing us you probably shouldn't be pushing 200 amps through a 12-volt system if you want everything to be cool as a cucumber. A good idea to consider stepping up to 24 or 48 volts to keep everything cool. Wrapping up our 1 hour long test here, neither switch exceeded 122 degrees Fahrenheit, 50 degrees Celsius. That's a pretty stark contrast to our previous test in a Class A RV build where we used double link bars on a Class T fuse attached right to the side of the switch and reached 145 degrees Fahrenheit, which is over 60 degrees Celsius, in just 15 minutes. That wasn't really plateauing. Now this test plateaued at a much cooler temperature, so leads me to feel that this switch is just fine. It's attaching it directly to the fuse, which also gets hot, and not giving them any space in between them for the cable to conduct the heat away from the fuse and away from the switch, and the air to naturally cool the cable, allowing it to, move that heat away from what's actually producing the heat, the fuse and the switch. So as much as I love our clean install kit with the switch attached to the left side of the fuse, it might be a better idea to space that fuse away from the switch and only use the clean install kit, the portion that attaches the switch and the shunt to the Lynx distributor, leaving the fuse further spaced away when you're doing a 12-volt system. When you're doing a 24-volt system, that current is cut in half, and we've really seen no high temperatures at all. Latching the fuse and the switch all together is not a problem. As far as the results, there's very little difference between these two switches. They both remain within 2 degrees Celsius of each other the entire time, and the EGIS switch was carrying about 2% more current throughout the whole test. That's just a variation in these heat guns, the size of the load. They're not exactly the same heat gun, I guess, even though they're the same model. They were made at different times, and it's impossible for us to pull exactly 200 amps from each battery at the same time. So this switch was pulling about 2% more current, and it stayed about 1, maybe 2 degrees Celsius cooler throughout the second half of the test. So I guess you could say this performed slightly better, but it really wasn't significant. It's a difference that's small enough that I feel like the tiny difference in crimps and cables, even though we're trying to make everything perfectly matched, could account for that difference rather than saying conclusively that one switch performed better than the other. Before we wrap things up here, I wanted to point out that we've installed dozens of 12-volt systems with the link bar, the Class T fuse, and the switch all right next to each other, and we are not concerned about the safety of those. We've monitored the temperature, and while we've seen it get quite warm, we've never seen it get anywhere close to 220 degrees Fahrenheit or 105 degrees Celsius, which is the rating on the wire insulation that we use. We've never seen any wire insulation melt or any other things in the area melt or overheat. So we're not releasing this video as a warning that you need to change your install. We are just trying to make things run a little cooler in the future. It's kind of an obsession of ours to keep those temperatures as low as we can. If you want to watch a previous video where we did more temperature testing on this switch, you can click that link here.